everybody. Are we ready to start our meeting? Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Walton Hills Committee of the Whole meeting of Tuesday, September 1st, 2020 at 7:02 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following Substitute House Bill 197 provisions that relate to public meetings during the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, I'd like to welcome the residents too that are joining us on YouTube. The link is on our website and also on our Facebook page, and we do have it posted around the village, at Village Hall, and other places too. So hope residents continue to join us as we do these meetings. Jennifer, did you have some? Okay. First order of business is roll call.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller. Here. Councilman Linville.
Present.
Councilwoman Allen. Here. Councilwoman Terlasky. Here. Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Weed.
Here. All council present, along with our tax administrator accountant, Angela Rivera, and our law solicitor, John Montello. Any comments? And we're going to go through the legislation and talk about other things, catch up on things if council has any things, other business too. Item number 3 is any comments related to the agenda. Any comments for the residents, from the residents? Residents, you can comment now, but you can also comment as we go through. Angela will receive comments through the computer that you type in, and as always, as mayor and council, we want to answer those comments. Through the meeting, I will ask Angela if anybody's commenting on anything. So we'll go. We have 2 pieces of legislation to talk about on the committee of the whole meeting tonight on the agenda. The first one is ordinance 2020-5 property assessments. I'm going to have Angela just kind of go over that. That is something we pretty much do every year. It's a housekeeping item. We did it last year, of course. We're doing it again. And I'll have Angela go through that, and then we can comment if anybody has any questions.
As the mayor mentioned, this is a housekeeping item. We need to certify our property assessments for trash collection, any delinquent assessments for lawn care, etc., and any culvert repair related assessments to the county by September 14th. And so this legislation just allows us to go ahead and certify the list that was presented to council in Exhibit A, and that is also on the website with the agenda.
Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Brian.
Do we know a count of how many houses that were delinquent in paying for the, that had to have their grass cut and things like that from the
I'll tell you
village?
that right now.
Well, there was 52 pages worth.
No, that's all
No,
trash. That's mainly
that's
trash.
trash.
So, and then we add on the other assessments here. So we've
Let's
got
hope not.
6 properties total with delinquent lawn, and 1 is actually listed as a business, as an LLC.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions related to that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
Angela, I think I calculated it, and it's $14 a month on the trash assessment.
It is actually currently, for what we're charging residents?
Yes. For what?
Yes, we're doing $42 a quarter, so $168 a year. And then we are charged per ton $42 a month, or I should say $42 per ton, so that varies each month by Kimball. And then we are currently just finished year 5 of the contract with the consortium as of July 31st. So our last bill reflects that $10.31 per parcel, which that covers the trash and the recycling portion.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
And so no changes to our $42 per quarter assessment. That will remain the same.
I know myself, Angela, Councilman Whedon, we talked a little bit about, you know, we're in the extended year. The 5th year expired, and there's two more years that the consortium can exercise, and they have chosen to do that so far for this year. Okay, they haven't actually, from what talking to Rob, talking to the different service directors, John talking, because Bedford's part of it, being part of Bedford, and me talking. We haven't committed to the other one yet. Okay, which we probably will, because trash is really, just talking to mayors outside, trash because of the recycling and other countries not accepting, actually a reduction in accepting our plastic, and we're not getting the same amount there, so a lot of the trash fees have gone up. So right now, we're at a pretty good deal. Even though it's escalated each year, we're still doing pretty well in the consortium. We don't want to leave the consortium, but as far as, you know, looking ahead. But we're going to do our due diligence, I know that. With this piece of legislation, of course, this is the assessment to the residents through the county. This is separate than the contract. Just, you know, so the contract's another issue we'll be discussing, you know, as we move forward here. But we're pretty happy, actually, with where we're at, just talking. And Rob did make a phone call today and talk to Orange, the service director in Orange. Orange is kind of the leader out of the consortium. So they're pretty much where we're at.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could you please let the residents know who else is in the consortium?
Yeah, go ahead.
We are in the consortium with Bedford, Bedford Heights, Orange Village, and then our own village.
Thank you.
Sure.
And so we do have a special council meeting after this. If this has to be passed by September,
I need to
14th.
certify to the county by September 14th, so yeah, if we're not, depending on if we're gonna plan to have a meeting next week or not, that would be the latest
Right.
we can pass it, would be next week.
right. So if we weren't going to, I would ask council if they would pass this for suspension, if we weren't going to have a meeting next Tuesday, we could have a COW meeting before the council meeting on the 15th. But I mean, so if we don't pass this, not that we say, but chances are that we would have another meeting in between. The reason I didn't feel, I know as council, we like more time. This is more to me as a housekeeping thing, and I think you guys understand that too and have looked at it. So with the recess and stuff, you know, but I want everybody to be comfortable.
And we're in the same
So,
time frame as last year
yeah.
for passing.
You know, as of right now, if you were to ask me, do you think we have anything to warrant a meeting next week, and then, you know, the council meeting, if we had another sealed, no, I really don't. Actually, the special council meeting, to me, was really, my concern was to have an executive session, and this kind of worked out that these two items were here. We do know we have to have that council meeting, though, because there is, you know, the 15th, there is two items we'd like to get passed. Of course, is the Dunham Road, because those bids are going to be opened up. I got it in front of me, it's like the 11th, okay? So Joe and Rob and John are going to have legislation for that, hopefully to, you know, accept the low, you know, the bid on that and a recommendation. And then also the Crick Road, Hannah Parkway, repairs, the asphalt and cement repairs, they're gonna have legislation for that. They did open the bids for those. He hasn't given me the recommendation. I know what the two lowest bidders are, but he's gonna give a recommendation, Joe, like he normally does, on which bid as engineers they feel would be the best. The lowest bid for this concrete was Agresta, and for the asphalt was NES Corporation. So that's for those repairs where we received the Community Development Block Grant. Okay, so that's grant money. We're using about $150,000 to make those repairs in our industrial area. So those two, so we definitely will have legislation for that council meeting to pass those two items. Because I know, like everybody, you guys have probably been fielding calls like the office here about Dunham Road. People want to see that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just to clarify, you said that the Dunham Road bids were being opened. It's open right now for the bidding process?
We're out for bid, the process
We're out for
was started
bids.
last week, correct.
Yes.
Okay, and that
Until
ends
12
on the
noon on the
11th.
11th.
Okay, so that ends on the 11th, so we'll be able to have that for the legislation. Okay,
That is correct.
thank you.
I actually had what you guys received, but I can say that, just kind of give the timeline. 8/25 was the first day we advertised for bids, or we were provided, first advertisement for bids was actually the 27th. We got the legal advertised. We advertised legal the 25th, first advertisement for bids was the 27th. Second advertisement for bids will be September 3rd. 9/11 is the public bid opening, and then hopefully 9/15, a recommendation for council for approval. And you guys have this, this is a time frame I sent one of the emails with Joe and stuff from Joe, so it's moving along. And then hopefully we'll have the other one, the other proposal for the Hannon and Crick Road. Well, we know he'll have a recommendation because they opened the bids on that already.
Mayor Colgraf?
Yes.
Yeah, Raymond Whedon. I still, we have communicated a little bit through email today. And as it relates to the assessment for waste collection, I'm still uncomfortable with the fact that that the Village of Walton Hills does not have a resolution to formally accept the first year of the option year. I completely understand that there's option year 6 and option year 1 and 2 was in the bids that Kimball submitted. However, when I look at resolution number 2015-20, this council authorized a 5-year contract. And it's difficult for me to move on sending something to the county to assess waste collection when I cannot see in front of me the legislation that says we have authorized the village to accept the first year option year. So I have real difficulty with moving forward with ordinance number 2020-5 in the absence of a resolution accepting the first year option with Kimball.
So, Mr. Whedon, so what you're looking for is an acceptance, a resolution of that extension?
Correct.
I don't think any other communities have passed it yet. I mean, we can accept, yeah, they have it.
They have
Angela's
not.
check.
I've spoken to the other communities. It's just like, think of Tom Jordan. We did something new with him last year because of a pay increase, but before that, it was 2014, on a one-year term, automatically renewing unless we decided to adjust something or terminate either one of us. This is kind of the same in number 21 in the bid proposal. That language being in there allows the consortium to go ahead and roll it without legislation. And then obviously Rob has had contact with the other cities. If 2 and 3 of them are saying, yeah, we're going into that first year, what are we gonna do? Bail in 975 parcels, try to go on our own and find something?
My concern is not bailing. My concern is having the documentation on file for the Village of Walton Hills stating that we are accepting the first-year contract. Let's not get into
Well, it's
whether
not
we're...
really
Let me
there.
finish.
I'm going to make it very simple. Go ahead, John. Say legally what you think, and then it will be up to council whether or not you want to pass a resolution.
Yeah, the agreement,
I have no problem with that. That'll be up to you. And then we don't need, be up to council whether you want to pass this tonight. Okay, or wait till we have a resolution, we'll have to have, and I'm not trying to strong arm, but we'll have to have another meeting because our council meeting will miss that deadline. So that it's that simple. It's up to you.
yeah, the agreement incorporates the bid documents as part of the contract that council approved 5 years ago, whatever it was. So that the actual bidding document is part of the contract. It's incorporated into it, and it says in section 18 that the consortium decides to exercise its renewal options by providing notice to the contractor, which, my understanding is the service directors met and have decided to extend the option.
But I guess this is the only point I want to make, is technically, I understand your concern, Councilman Whedon, but technically, they stand alone. They're not tied together at all. Let's say Kimball walked away from the contract today, correct? We'd still be assessing our residents and we'd have to find another provider. This is just saying we're going to charge our residents, we're going to assess them for trash removal. So it doesn't. You're gonna have to pass this eventually, whether if we had Kimball or somebody else or no. So what would happen? Let's say that Kimball did do that, we'd still be charged, but it'd be up to us to find another provider. So they're really that part, Ray. They're not tied together. Like passing this wouldn't do anything. Like the county say, oh, well, you told us this. We're charging the residents. They're just saying, okay, the village is charging the residents this much for this much, for this service.
Right, Mr. Mayor?
Yes. But I'm good either way.
To make it clear, what we're passing, just what you said, is a notification to the county that we are assessing our residents X amount of money
Correct,
for
so
trash
that it hits
collection.
the property taxes for next
It
year.
is separate and individual of our contract with Kimball. Now, I don't have any problem passing this tonight because of that, but Mr. Whedon does make a good case for somehow acknowledging, just because of transparency, just as, if Mr. Whedon or anybody was on there and saw the 2015 contract and was looking at this, was interested in it for some reason, they're getting charged for it, so they should be interested in it, and found that resolution and didn't find anything other than that. I can understand Mr. Whedon's concern, and based on that, I would agree with Mr. Whedon for that. So I would stand with Mr. Whedon in passing a resolution indicating that we are in fact accepting the contract as we did, accepting the extension to the contract, but it still doesn't have anything to do with this.
Correct. So we could draft that for the 15th meeting.
So I'm wondering if Mr. Whedon would be okay with that, if we could do that on the 15th meeting, or would you want to see it before or along with doing this?
I personally would want to see it before we do this. I mean, it's whether we're saying we're going to assess our residents, I get that $14 per month or $168 a year, I get that. And that's separate from this. But this accepting of the one-year option precedes having anything to base the fact that you're going to assess the residents for rubbish. And I would prefer to see, even if it means a special council meeting next week, that we adopt a resolution accepting the one-year option prior to passing ordinance 20-5. That's where I stand.
It's not legally necessary, but we can certainly do it just to have it. Right, John? I mean, no other cities are doing it.
Well, even if we opted
But
out,
we can, if that makes it.
I'm not talking about opting out. I'm talking about,
As
how
long
about
as
a
we have a
motion?
meeting
How about
for the
making a
county
motion on the
before
floor
first.
tonight to extend it?
No, we'll put a resolution. Here's the thing, and I wish Rob was here, because this is mostly negotiated with the service directors. They work together with this, and they do a lot to do with it. But his comment was, the consortium tries to stick together, okay? So if one wanted to leave, they would talk and they say, okay, we're gonna see, I've done some research, we might be able to get a better price over here. Let's, what I mentioned, all four of us. So right now, we're following the lead of the consortium, and the consortium has exercised this year, and they said they might even talk, they know that this year they can get a better price, okay? And that's why they've exercised their thing. So having a resolution, I mean, it already expired, they're giving us a service under the existing contract, so everything is legal. All we're doing is just adding another piece of legislation, which is fine, okay? But the consortium, and some, Bedford, they haven't passed anything, probably won't, and other communities won't, but that doesn't mean we don't have to. But I just want to make it clear that we're not doing, if we did do it tonight, we're not doing nothing that is an unacceptable or
Illegal.
outside, because they're honoring it. And if they didn't, then the consortium, we would, have to look somewhere else. But the point is, what we're assessing the residents, once they assess it, that doesn't change for that year. Okay, our contract might change. Right now, our contract, is it breaking? It's not breaking even, is it? Even. We're paying.
I can pass something out to everyone to look at. We're assessing 975 parcels, and so if everyone is on time with their property taxes, that would bring us in $162,960 a year. We all know that's probably not the case. And then month to month, the only unknown we really have with Kimball is what's our tonnage going to be. So our bills could go anywhere from 138,000 in a year total to 156 or 160,000 if the tonnage goes up. John and I have discussed, we know recycling costs have gone up. Kimball tried to come back and hit the consortium with it, and the consortium
Right.
said no way. So we are still locked in right now, at least at these other prices. But
And we are charging
I
the
call
same
it
as
break
last
even.
year.
I call it break even if everyone's on time with property taxes. We collected every drop of what we are out there charging. When we first started this in 18, we assessed for second and third quarter ourselves because we couldn't get it on the taxes
Right.
until the next year. And at that time, we had about 100 parcels not pay anything for either quarter. So, again, you're at the mercy of who's caught up on their property taxes. Are we even realizing all of it when it all comes into us in our property tax distributions? But yeah, I would say it's pretty stinking close to break even. We are definitely not making money on it.
No, and that's not the
And
intention.
that's not the intent, right?
But the way it was looking, when we first set it up, actually,
It's close to break even.
it was to break even, correct. Where this year, I thought the way we were looking, after talking to Katie, that we were actually probably going to be paying a little bit of,
We may on that.
you know what I'm
signature-
saying? Out of the end, the residents won't be paying all of it. And that might happen if as we move forward, next year we have another increase if we were to exercise.
Again, it all
this
comes
kind.
down to the tonnage, because that's where the variance is. We ended last
It's
year.
going up.
We
Trash is
ended
going
last
to
year
be-
paying $156,299 total for the year to Kimball. So we're setting our fixed price of, like, right now, we're at $10.31 per parcel for the pickup and the, you know, then we have our carts too. That was part of the whole original bid, that we got the carts from them. So that includes recycling and trash. And then the variable after that is how much tonnage in each week. I'll give these to you guys, it's just a July bill, that's the end of the 5th year. And it lines up exactly so to the $43 a ton that was listed in that bid proposal for the 5th year. And then it gives week by week how much tonnage they collected and what we're being charged for that. So that's always an unknown. But again, yeah, we're kind of at a break-even mark if you consider that, you know, if we're hopeful that most people have paid their property taxes timely and that we've gotten it in our distributions, then we're still at break-even. So we're not trying to make money on the residents, that's for sure. And costs are only going to go up for the next time the consortium goes out. So. But I will certainly pass these out to everyone so that you can kind of just get a feel. I have it included in here, the page of, you know, out of the bid proposal, so that you have that as well.
Just a question, so, John, if the other communities don't pass anything, and I already know that, but it doesn't affect us. We could pass something and accepting the extension. If they don't pass anything, it doesn't affect the consortium, or that's something to look into.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's,
That's just,
maybe a simple
Yeah,
motion.
that's just, it doesn't hurt to have the extra legislation.
You don't get
would you, what was that, Mr. Mata?
Simple motion to, I mean, you're not gonna get a better price. The reason Kimball wanted to up the price is because of China. And they put some restrictions on what you were able to, you know, ship from China, and they wanted to go up, I can't remember exactly the amount, but we rejected that last year, and they're not happy with this figure. So, you know, we're not gonna get a better price on our own or without the consortium, and
So yeah, what does council want to do? Because we'll put a resolution in place and we can pass it next Tuesday. Is everybody comfortable with that? Or do you want to pass it tonight? It's up to council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to ask Mr. Montello, how long does it, would it be possible for you to write a resolution tonight before we go into?
Yeah, we could do that. Are we allowed to add to the special meeting agenda? Is the question.
That's the thing.
Usually special meetings restricted to what's on.
notice 24 hours.
Yeah, you have to give a 24-hour notice.
Okay, yeah. It doesn't matter to me if we come in next week. I mean, we get paid to come in anyways, and if one of my colleagues has an issue, and that, I do know we passed contracts. We passed a couple of them this year, extensions, that some are silent. If we do nothing,
Right.
they
Right.
extend.
Correct.
And we
Well, that's what it is.
don't make a resolution saying we're silent on it, we're gonna let it extend. So we do have instances that we can show, but again, I fully understand Mr. Whedon's concern and for transparency, and I don't have a problem with doing it next week.
Why don't we do this? If everybody's comfortable, why don't we put it on for first reading? Okay? And then next week, can pass it under suspension. And we'll have a resolution for the extension. So we'll have a special council meeting with the resolution for the extension, and then the property assessments, and then that will get us before the 14th. Unless we wanted to move the council meeting up a day, but is that giving that,
Yeah, it's,
It won't get brought up.
yeah, okay.
plus we have the Dunham Road.
You know what, we might have other stuff too, you know, believe me, we'll find stuff. We know we do want to talk about the budget quite a bit. We want to dig in, you know, kind of get a feel for that. Oh, you
I'll
won't
let
be
you know.
able
I'll let you know.
Okay, doesn't matter, I can get from you and Katie, whatever we have. We'll find something for the agenda. How does everybody feel? You know, we're getting back from a little recess here, council is, so we got to get in the groove, and let's start on a good note and get things rolling here. Does that sound like a plan? We'll go to next Tuesday, and we'll do those 2 items. Everybody in agreement with that, or?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Since this expired on July 31st, we're already enrolled in it, or is it considered like a month by month if we?
No,
So
no,
It's a full year, but as Brian mentioned too, like it rolls automatically. So
Right.
as long as the main person in the consortium, which was Orange, and everyone else says, yeah, okay, we're rolling, that's our plan, we're good with it, and none of us say, no, wait, we need to pull out, something drastic's happened, and, you know, we're not getting our service proper, then it does, it automatically rolls. I mean, just, again,
Right.
just like a Tom Jordan type of contract, so, and, you know, it's not that we wanted to overlook it or that we weren't paying attention to it, but we're in the middle of COVID and we're all doing 1,000 jobs at once, so the fact that it is
No,
able to roll
yeah,
is one
I
of
com-
those things we didn't need to be focused on.
No,
initially, Rob and
I
I.
completely understand.
So-
and
I
They're still picking your trash up, right?
Yeah,
But they're
no,
not gonna stop if we don't pass the legislation.
Right,
but
no, I
passing it won't
understand,
hurt.
and I'm fine with coming in next week and stuff, it's just, if this were to have been done, it probably should have been done before the expiration date, in my mind, that's all.
If we knew we wanted to pass that, because
Right.
again, not every city's doing it, it's not necessary. But if we
Right.
wanted as an extra measure, then yes, next year, that would be something we're gonna look at if they wanna roll again.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
for
fine
sure,
with
we could do it
next week.
If,
sooner.
here's why it isn't, because I viewed it as 2 separate things, which it is, okay? And our service director, as it got closer, and the other service directors couldn't get a better price, and so they wanted to exercise this year, okay? So if anything I failed to do here was just have our service director put out an email, okay? Because technically, they're not, one is not the other. We're deciding on how much we want to assess our residents. We can assess them less than what we're paying Kimball. We can assess more, which we don't want to do, but you know what I'm saying? We might say, hey, we don't, in the future, hopefully, as things get better, we might say, okay, we're going to have to assess a little bit, but our finances have gotten a little better, maybe we don't have to assess as much, okay? Take some of the burden off the residents. Hopefully, someday we'll be able to say, hey, let's go back to picking up things. Just right now, we can't. So there's thing, but if that works for everybody and we pass it, that's fine. We just got to get it passed before the deadline. But that's, because I just know Rob's feeling on this, and, you know, he takes it thing, and that's okay. You know, we're, you know, so it's all good. The good thing is we did a good contract with the consortium. They exercised a 5-year contract at a very good rate with a 2-year option. So the bottom line is, to the residents is, we have a 2-year option. We're not increasing the assessment, which is an important thing. We hope never to increase it, but right now we don't need to. It's going to stay the same. And even if the we pay a little bit more at the $7.
Our tonnage is gonna go up to
Yeah, the tonnage goes up.
45.50.
It stays the same for them. So for the residents, the bottom line is their assessment is the same as last year. Okay, so what we're doing here is just really just some housekeeping things, and then we can put that together. Okay, is that how so we'll have it for next week's Tuesday's COW meeting? Those 2 items will be on there then.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Talking about the consortium, you know, the biggest player in this obviously is Bedford Heights, you know, we're the little.
We got the least amount of households.
Exactly, but it's good that we're in there with them because of the amount that they have. Walton Hills they don't move the numbers in the consortium. Bedford and Bedford Heights does. Are you aware of any movement to get other people involved, other municipalities such as Oakwood or
That I don't know, but I can ask Rob, he's been in
Northfield
touch with Orange.
anything like that? Yeah. Make the
Sometimes
consortium
Oakwood goes with Glen Willow and Solon, and they go
Right.
more east.
go that way.
But yeah, I can definitely ask Rob or reach out to Bob over at Orange and see if they've tried to reach other cities.
Okay, thank you.
With that said, like, yeah, right now, Bedford, the customers served is 4761, Bedford Heights is 2755, Orange is 1355, and Walton Hills is 960.
And this is as of 2015. so-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we'll do, is everybody in council in agreement to have ordinance 2020-5 for first reading? Okay, who would like to
Yes.
introduce that? You good with that? Denny, those guys do that? For first reading, Denny.
Mayor, Council, at this time, I would like to introduce.
No, Denny, hold on.
For
We're
during the
gonna do
meeting.
it in a special council meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going over it, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, resolution 2020-14. Angela, this is another one for,
More housekeeping. This is the resolution to accept the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency. So same thing, also needs to go to by the 14th, and this was just your 3% inside millage that you passed in 2018. No changes to any of that. Just needs to be passed each year.
any questions on that for council? Or- Angela, any questions from residents? Any-
No questions from residents
Do
that
we-
I can see.
Do we have any residents on there? Or?
16 people watching.
Okay, good. Does somebody want to maybe shoot us something so we know we do have connections?
Yeah, I do know last time I was advised that they couldn't text us or,
Sometimes, if you have a Gmail account, if you log into the Gmail account, that will allow you to do your commenting. And I don't know, Kevin, maybe you know if they have a regular email account, if there's some other way they should be able to get on and comment. But I know for mine up here, it asks me to log into my Gmail to be able to do it.
No, for you have to be on a Gmail account.
Okay.
oh, interesting, I didn't know that.
Mayor Colgraf?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just one minor comment on page 2 of this resolution. We need to make sure that resolution number 2020-14.
Oh, sorry, I gotta change that
Okay,
for our, thank
before we
you.
vote on it.
Thank you. We're always going over old stuff, so thank you.
On, what was that now? So,
At the top on page 2, I just need to update to the current resolution number.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Do we need to amend that? To do
I
that?
can amend it before you sign.
Oh, she could just change it.
Okay, she can just
Yeah.
change it. Okay, that's fine.
It's just the header.
You did get one done.
Did we get a comment?
No, we can talk this time, it says, from Soren Buddha.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Any other questions relating to Resolution 2020-14?
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor, everything's
Yes.
the same, it's a housekeeping, and it's again to advise the county of the three mills, yeah, my proper verbiage that we're taxing.
And we pass that every year. So is council comfortable in the special meeting, we'll pass that one under suspension?
Yes.
Yes.
Who would like to introduce that?
I will.
Mary? Okay. For suspension.
That's
And he's
fine.
going to introduce the other one for first reading, the ordinance.
Which one are we talking about now, 2020-05 or 14?
2020-14.
Okay.
Mary's going to introduce that for suspension.
And I'm doing 2020-05.
Correct.
For first reading, thank you.
Okay, any other questions relating to those two? The other, under other business, I kind of jumped into it, the Dunham Road. We gave an update on that. We will have a planning commission meeting on September 9th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And the agenda is on the website. You can get the planning commission agenda there. And it should be on our Facebook page too. And that's posted, as always, like every other meeting.
That's 9:20, you say?
That's on September 9th
Oh.
of this year at 7 p.m. That's a planning commission. Ray's a new member of the planning commission. Mary was on it last year, and we also have another new member, Todd Toaz, who took Mike Hopkins' place. So me and Ray will have a council meeting and then a planning commission meeting. We'll have a busy week.
Busy week.
Anybody else have anything for other business before I ask for adjournment? Yes, Gloria.
I've been asked many questions about what's going on Alexander down at the end by Dunham. I forget what his name is, that he used to want.
Tim Waddle?
I'll
Yes.
answer that.
What is he doing?
Well, just so everybody knows, because people have asked me, and as everybody knows, that's private property. It's not village property, 'cause I've even had people say, why aren't we putting it in the Journal or in the Owl, or why don't the residents know? Well, it's no, really, as you can see, he's putting in a pond and landscaping. And he pulled all the proper permits, and it's actually gonna look very beautiful from the plans we have here, and I think it's gonna add to his property there. Yeah. So, that's what it is. Yeah. And he submitted plans for a pond and the mounding and wildflowers and landscaping, and so, yeah, big project. Yeah. Visible corner. So, I've been asked many times that same question, Gloria. So,
We've had people ask when they've called in if it's going to be open to the public.
yeah. But,
Can they fish? Yeah, right.
you know, I think it's going to be nice. I think it's going to look pretty. It's going to look nice from what he's submitted.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
as far as the budget, the finances, we're going to talk about that, how we're doing pretty soon.
Possibly next
and you
week
said-
for you if we're going to have that
so
meeting. Yeah, today's
if
the
you're gonna
last,
be here.
yesterday was the last day of the month, so I'm trying to get closed in the midst of 500 other phone calls and things going on. So, yeah, I'm hoping to have financials by next week's meeting even, so if not, for sure the 15th.
Yeah, I'll save my comments and questions for that. We're holding our own, but
We are definitely
we're
holding
down
our
a little
own.
bit.
Yeah.
But we're holding our own in the
We are.
face of COVID. Most of our,
We're
it
holding our
appears.
own. We are going to get another approximately $12,000 from the CARES Act money again, because there was some leftover funding that someone said, hey, pass that back out to the cities. So that'll be rolling in hopefully soon. It was supposed to hit the county accounts last week on the 28th.
Half of what we received before.
Half of what we received,
They're
yeah.
giving all the communities half of what
With
they
that
received.
I was gonna
additional
say,
money,
Angela,
we
that-
still, we've got this timeline, October 15th, whatever is not used by any city or village needs to kind of go back into the pot. And from what I read today from OBM, it's going back into the pot to help the cities who've already spent all theirs. So I'm hopeful we will have ours maybe procured mostly, or an idea of what we're gonna do with it by then. Because after that, if they redistribute, we don't know what we'll get. We'll have till December 31st to use the rest, but in my mind, the way I'm thinking of it is there's a lot of other cities using it for first responder payroll. We were not given that much to even think of going there, nor did we let anyone off. And so I'm kind of like, we're small, so hopefully, we don't have to give to somebody who needed all theirs for payroll, and we can keep doing our PPE and our meetings and our things that are important to our residents, so.
Offhand, Angela, does it look, that would be a total of like 35,000 then? that
It'll
we
be-
got? 'Cause
yeah,
It
it'll
was
be a
like
total of about
23,000 and
35.
change.
Correct.
And
So
then
right
another
now,
12.
we have already, not including tonight's meeting, we have already spent about almost 13,000. So
Okay.
we've got 10 of the original left, roughly.
Okay, and if we need to keep going with our meetings like this through the end of the year,
Yeah.
will that earmark the majority of?
I'm gonna find out if we can earmark that. We can't necessarily go out and stockpile PPE, we were told, for
Right.
next year. Not that we can't stockpile some of it, and we can't just, go dump a ton of money right in one fell swoop on stockpiling for next year. But I am gonna ask that question about, can we procure in
prepay
advance for
for
meetings
our-
that we know we're gonna have?
Right.
For sure.
Yeah,
for
if we
sure.
can, because if we could have those
That
like
would-
prepaid.
That would be our one, exactly, that would be our one area we know that we could potentially prepay and something, it's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah. So I will let you know, I'll keep you posted.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I know somebody that is on the Ohio board that does the analyzing of all the communities' things and basically make sure they're charging what they should and using. And he told me it changes constantly.
They're gonna change our dates probably
They-
within there too, maybe.
Yeah, what you can do, what you can't do.
They've given pretty good, we're fortunate that, again, we're not using it for payroll. That was one of the big things in the beginning, that was like a gray area. Can you use it for payroll for first responders? Wait, maybe not, maybe yes. Here, what I've looked at for everyone is, if you put in COVID hours, was it any different than doing your regular job, or did it exceed hours in your regular pay? And knock on wood, so far it hasn't, for officers, for any of us. It's all fallen within our regular work weeks. So there was really no reason for us to even try to dip into that small amount for any kind of payroll, where some of the bigger cities definitely needed to do that if they were adding more first responders or changing their schedules around. So, yeah, and again, the deadlines, I thought they were gonna maybe change for us too and just give us till December 31st, but what came from the OBM today said October 15th again, so we'll see. But we do have a reporting mechanism. I've been keeping track of every, single receipt and who it's to and when we spent it, and so we'll have all of our reporting ready to go, and whenever they say, here's the date, tell us what you spent, tell us what you have left, give it back, don't give it back. And at the end of the year, if you have money left that you haven't spent, then that has to go back. That has to go back regardless, so. Yeah.
I've got one more question.
You can have it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor. Speaking of audits,
We
audits.
are almost done. So I actually have been working with Josh, because their last piece of their audit they were working on was the JED portion. And I got him some documents last week. And there was a couple other miscellaneous things like the signature card from the bank I'm waiting for the bank to respond on. But he said they are working on wrapping it up. And they gave us a timeline of September, so they should probably hit their timeline and hopefully be done with that 18-19 audit by mid-September, end of September.
Right, so
Yeah.
probably in October, like always, he'll come and talk to us and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and we should have the findings for that. And then again, they were wrapping up the previous audit as well. When we started this one, there were some few things they needed. And between Katie and I think we got that all tied up. So hopefully, I'll hit him up again and make sure that one's gonna kind of come right along with the other ones so that we can give the findings for both at the same time.
Very good. Well, let's kind of go through everything. We know what we're going to do with ordinance 2020-5. We'll have that for first reading, and then I'll have it on the agenda for next Tuesday. And then we'll put a resolution together for the extension of another year. And then this one, if council's in favor of passing under suspension for the inside millage. And then if anybody has any certain thing they want to put on the agenda or something for next week's meeting, let me know or whatever. As of right now, I'll put budget, we'll put, talk about the budget. Angela mentioned she might not be able to make it. I'll see.
I'll try. It's a meeting I should be able to
Or maybe
rearrange,
see if
but-
Katie, but if it's me, I'll do my best. I'll get information
I
from
won't leave it to
both
just
Katie
you.
and
One of us
Angela,
will be here.
and we'll go from there. And then we can talk about whether or not we'll need to put next Tuesday, then whether we want to put a COW meeting. We'll still have the council meeting because we'll have those two bids. Whether or not we want to put time for a COW meeting out, I guess we'll see, if there's anything we needed to talk about. So we'll know next Tuesday.
Other
So,
legislation we'll have coming up soon too would be snowplow contracts. They're gonna go out for bid for that as well, so.
Right.
I'm just trying to think of anything else miscellaneous that might be coming up in this month, but I think that's kind of it.
yeah, so what we'll do is, so we'll have a COW meeting and a special council meeting again next week. So we'll have 2 special council meetings and 1 regular meeting. But just for the residents, want you to understand, the special council meetings, these are housekeeping items, and they're really, nothing's gonna really change in either one of them. So, we're already decided on the millage and the assessments. So, okay. With that said, can I ask for adjournment of the COW meeting of Tuesday, September 1st, 2020 at 7:50?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting of Tuesday, September 1st, at 7:51.
Second.
Second by Jennifer Allen.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 7:53. Okay, does anybody, before we go into special council meeting, anybody need to go to the restroom or anything like that? Everybody good? Everybody good to?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Are we ready? Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the special council meeting of Tuesday, September 1st, 2020 at 7:54 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are following Substitute House Bill 197 provisions that relate to public meetings and hearings during the COVID-19 pandemic. First order of business, call to order, which we did. Second, roll call.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Here.
Councilman Linville?
Present.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Here.
All council present, along with our tax administrator account, Angela Revere, and our law solicitor, John Montello. Okay. We have the legislation on the agenda. We just talked about it in the COW meeting. Mr. Linville, would you like to introduce ordinance 2020-5 for first reading?
Mayor, at this time, I would like to introduce ordinance 2020-5 for first reading, an ordinance authorizing and directing the fiscal officer to certify delinquent property maintenance charges, trash collection, assessments, and culvert repair assessments to the county auditor for collection and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Okay. So we don't need to,
That's it.
we don't need to vote on that. First reading, we're good with that.
Brian, you were the second.
Oh, wait, are we
Yes,
going to pass
ma'am.
that one?
No,
Yes.
that's going to first reading.
Okay,
Yep.
And then-
Except for the last
Right. Who would like to introduce, so Jen,
Oh, I did.
Mary, resolution 2020-14.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to introduce Resolution 2020-14 for suspension, a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to be to the county auditor and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Linville. Vote
Council-
on the suspension.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for the adoption of Resolution 2020-14.
Second.
Second by Denny Linville. Vote on adoption.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller?
Yes.
Councilman Linville?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2020-14 passed. Okay. Just for the residents and anybody viewing our meeting tonight, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session. And when we do reconvene, there won't be any business. We're just going to reconvene to adjourn the meeting. You're welcome to stay on and watch, but just to let everybody know, we're going to go into executive session, and when we reconvene, it will be to adjourn the meeting. Hope to see everybody. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Hope to see everybody next week, Tuesday at our meeting, and hope everybody continues to be healthy and stay safe. And we all had a nice summer. It was a pretty summer. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session, discuss pending litigation and personnel? That person should say, whoever would like to make the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss pending litigation and personnel.
And read what's in the parentheses.
Finance Department.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
We're going on the motion.
Councilwoman Brenner Miller.
Yes.
Councilman Linville.
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen.
Yes.
Councilwoman Terlasky.
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. We will adjourn to go into executive session, and when we come back, we will ask for adjournment.